some pancakes. Hello, and welcome to Painting Along with Nancy, and welcome to these super geraniums that you saw being painted last time. And we hope that we made the point, and we hope that you got the point of all these warm earth colours, all these bright reds and these lovely ochres, how by relating them, you've got ochres in there and ochres here, you've got the green picked up here, you've got the background which is an extension of the reds, of this lovely warm red that we have in the centre, how this relationship between the colours builds up this overall harmony of the pictures. Now, come across and let's say, hello Nancy.
Hello Alan.
Nancy, there's one, I mean, tremendous difference between this zinging geraniums and, what's the title of this?
Low Tide.
Low Tide. Now, what is the basic reason for such a tremendous
Well, this is a warm picture, and this is a cool one.
So that means the sort of bluies are this is the warm colours,
right.
and those are the blue.
That's right.
So
this is impasto also. It's a very different technique because the flowers are very thick.
Yeah, so this is a smoother painting.
Right.
This is quiet and more tranquil.
Ah, see.
Is it?
Yes, it is. I hope so.
All right, then, so this is Low Tide. So we now start... We hasten to just add that we've got constant repetition here, and the reason that we keep repeating it is, of course, that gradually it sinks in, and eventually you don't have to think about it. So we go through the same motions here as staining down the canvas. Don't forget, if you happen to be painting on hardboard, well, then just use the rough side, and no problem about staining, just use it straight from the knife. So, Nancy, we've got Low Tide now. Our grid system, exactly the same?
Exactly the same thing. Thank goodness. That's a lovely, lovely aid. Now, of course, we have the same problems as we had before. Actually, it's not a problem, it's the same technique. We have to worry about the horizon. I hope that no student gets too impatient not to do this, because they'll say, oh, well, I'll skip it this time. Because I think it's a nuisance if you do. You'll find out anyway soon enough.
Yeah, well, but if it becomes automatic, it's like, as you said before, Nancy, umpteen times, you know, where you say it's like driving the car and changing gear. You go through the motions, and you're not even aware that you're doing it, are you?
No. I'm going to put the horizon in, remember, Alan?
Yes,
a little bit
horizon.
above. This time it's a little bit above the center line, like that.
Yeah.
And there again, I do think it's important.
You wipe out the center line.
Right,
yeah.
because you see what happens. Once you start painting, you will forget which one is which. There we are. I'm going to put in this little hill. We have these little mountains. We're going to put in this little mountain. Actually, it's a little range, but it's very far away, so they're not very tall, like this, you see. I picked up a little aqua on the way in. That's all right.
That's when you say aqua, you mean
aquamarine. Yes, it's a color we mix, and it's the only color. It doesn't come in a tube at all. I mean, no, it doesn't. I mean, there are colors. This one doesn't come in a tube.
So you mix your own?
Yes, we mix our own. Now, I'm going to put, this goes like this here. And, of course, now we have this other part. This painting, and now here's a problem here. Although the horizon comes a little bit above, we have an inlet here, so it goes down to about here, like this. You see?
This is where the water...
So that means we have an uneven horizon or shoreline. We have little inlets like that, you see? Now we have the other part like this. This is all water between here. There again, we have these charming little inlets, which give this painting a beautiful effect. It gives a lot of interest. This also can be a problem to paint if you're not careful. Those little inlets will do you in. There we are.
Once again, just as with all our initial starts, Nancy, whatever we're painting, just the outline we put in.
Right, just the outline. Right.
And if we have picked up a little colour, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it doesn't really. There we are. Now we're going to put this little boat in. Ah, those boats. It's a lovely little way to put this boat in, and it's wonderful. Well, I'll tell you about those boats. I really don't like to do boats, and I don't have a thing about boats. And there's quite a few things that you'll find as a painter you won't want to do. Why beat yourself? Don't do them.
I like that, yeah.
Now I'm going to draw. We're going to draw a little box first like this. This is an interesting way to do a boat, like that. You see? And we go this way, and this way, and this way, like that. You see? Like this. Now, if it gets to look like a bathtub, don't leave it in. You don't need that boat. I mean, it can be a beautiful painting without the boat. I think it's quite large. I'm going to make it a little smaller, Alan. It's gotten a little bit large. Excuse me. Yeah. Let me make this a little smaller because.
Well, this proves another point. I mean, up till now, Nancy, this is the first time I've seen you do that. You see, so this proves another point to us. If we have made something perhaps just a little you know, too big or whatever, then
just go in and change it.
It's very simple. All you have to do is to change it, isn't it?
Now we have a little knoll right here,
yeah.
Alan, like this. You see, and we have some trees here. And remember, we don't draw the trees in. See, we're going to do those a little later. Fine. That's about all we need. That's all we have to do. There. Okay? Now, what goes in first?
The sky.
Right. And where is the light coming from? But
you haven't given me any
I
idea.
haven't given you any clues, have I?
Give me a clue, and I know now already, you see. The light's coming from the right-hand side because the shadow's on the left-hand side.
Righto. Oh, very good. Yeah. It's very dark here. We have a reflection this way, you see.
So the light is now literally all right-hand side.
Right-hand side, fine.
And we start off with the light tone down over the hill.
Right. Wonderful. You get an A for effort. Gold star for you. Now, as usual, we put... What? I'm waiting, Alan. You're supposed to tell me.
Now, as usual, what?
We're putting the light tone, right?
Yes, the light tone comes down
I'm testing
over
you,
the
you
mountains. Light down tone over the tops of the mountains. And this is your criss-cross stroke, isn't it?
Yes. No cyclones here. Just a little crisscross stroke here like this. I've got really...
And we don't mind if you sort of wipe out little bits because you know where they are and they can be popped back in again.
Yes. I'm going to really...
Don't forget, while Nancy's doing this, don't forget what I said about if you made a thing a little too large or a little too small, don't forget that you can just wipe it out, make it a bit bigger, or wipe it out, make it a bit smaller.
This is why you have it painted with the sepia.
And the wash. The fact that it is a wash means you can wipe it out.
Wipe it right out with a piece of tissue, you see?
Now this is our dark tone coming in.
Actually, it's a medium tone, Alan.
This is, this is a medium tone, is it?
Yeah. And I'll tell you what we're going to do in a moment.
Yeah, I know, yes. All right, then I'll tell you when I think what you're going to do. Yes,
Yeah,
I know where the dark tone comes now.
I don't want this to look stormy because actually it's supposed to be a tranquil day, so we haven't had a storm in a little while. Okay? There we are. Now I'm going to put the hills in. An interesting thing about the hills, I've mixed the color of the hills with a little of the sky tone, which gives it a bluish look. Okay? Now, we have a lovely little light tone here like this, yellow tone. I'm using tones of yellow here because there's a lovely sunlight effect right here like this, you see?
Distance, isn't it?
Yes, I'm mixing a little sky color with that to keep it cool because remember, it's far away and we're just seeing an impression, you see, of these little hills back in here like this.
Nancy, when we painted the geraniums and you were talking about related color, when you say we've used a little bit of the sky tone in this is again relating the whole, it's unifying the composition because the colors are reflected in one another, aren't they?
Right. Besides, it gives your painting, again, a harmonious look, and everything is related in nature. There we have these hills of green.
There's not this tremendous contrast of garish colors, is there, really? Yeah.
Oh, they do in advertising art and what have you, they have it. But then that's supposed to be. Yes, that's for a purpose. But you don't live with it, really, and you don't see it in nature quite that much. Although I've seen some dramatic things in nature, sunsets and what have you.
Oh, yeah, but for our purposes at the moment, we tend to keep it simple. Yeah?
Now, the inlet is very dark right here, like this, you see? I'm going to draw a very dark inlet like this. It's dark along the edge, by the way, this way. Now, you remember that we used how we dragged the sky into the mountains. We're going to paint all this out.
Well, that gave us that sort of distant atmosphere and haze effect there.
And we have a little mound here of beach. It's terribly interesting. And then we have a little dark spot right here, like this, you see? This is to give it a little variation. This is a little bit of a beach right here, and we're going to have a tree right in there. Now, I'm going to put the trees in while I'm at it, Alan, like this. Dark on the one side, you see, like this.
Yeah.
And I'll put two there like that. Actually, I've gotten them a little larger than I intended to, but that's all right. I'm going to put the light tone on the other side, like this, you see? The sun's coming in and hitting this little knoll right there and hitting those trees. You see that?
The splash of light that yellow gives them.
Now, we're going to put the tree trunks in there. Again, I'd like to use the light tone, like this, you see? And possibly just a little tiny touch of purple. But I don't want them too dark back there because they're in the distance, you see? Now we've got two trees. I'm going to drag a little sky through this way.
That
just to
is a
soften.
delightful effect, isn't it?
Isn't that a beautiful
Super
effect? Yes, it's
yes,
lovely.
Yes, it really is.
It creates the whole feeling of haziness and kind of an ethereal feeling. It's quite beautiful. Now, we're right back here. We've got this inlet in here. Of course, that one can be a real problem. Now, this will be a little darker right along the shoreline because the shoreline is up like that and creating a shadow on the front of it like that. You see? I want to do this here like that. There we are. Now, then, let's keep going. The water next. Remember?
Yes, yes,
What are we doing?
because the mountains are resting on the horizon. You've not attempted the foreground yet, but
No.
this is a painting from the back to the front, isn't it?
Always.
This is what we're doing, yeah.
We always work down, pretty much.
Now, Nancy, is this...
This is the
this
inlet.
is the sky tone again, isn't it? Now, again, this is all this unification of colour. We reflect one colour in another.
Of
They're
course,
not
this
all
is the word.
individual
Right.
separate colours, are they?
There we are, coming down. Uh-huh. Oh, Lordy, I don't want to knock off my little boat.
You don't like boats?
You know, when I was painting in California, I absolutely have no feeling about boats at all. I don't like to paint mechanical things in paintings. That's another thing you must be careful of as a painter, you won't anyway. Don't paint cars and things because they date your painting. 20 years from now, when someone sees your painting, they won't even notice your painting. They'll say, look at that funny little car there. It's true.
That's a
It's
point.
the same thing with
Never thought of
garments.
that,
When I
yes,
paint portraits, you see, I never
That's
use...
a point, isn't it? Yes, it's quite a
Yes,
thought,
I'm very,
yes.
very, very careful about using anything that will date the picture because nobody then notices the painting. They're so busy laughing about what they used to do.
We used to wear the
What they used to
hairstyles,
wear.
yes, yeah.
So I'm very careful about jewelry and all of that. And it's the same thing with cars. Besides, I hate to paint them anyway. I remember that in class we painted a boat in one of the classes, and gorgeous thing, full sails and what have you. And then one of the students came in class, she's an authority on boats, absolutely fell over laughing. And I said, what happened? I said, what's wrong with you? She said, that boat is hilarious. She said, the sail's going one place and the boat's going another. So much for boats.
Yeah, well, of course, I suppose if one does paint a technical thing, one has got to have a technical idea.
You
of how
better
that
know what you're
thing
doing.
works. Yes,
right.
yes.
So don't worry yourself with things like that for now.
Well, these pictures, you've chosen the choicest subject for the whole series, Nancy. Have you deliberately kept these to simple shapes for our beginner benefit?
Yes, I have. These paintings were very carefully chosen for the absolute beginner, for variety and for simplicity,
Yeah.
you see. Because you can't handle anything else right now, and you shouldn't. It will frustrate you and you'll never paint again,
yeah.
you see, and that's the whole secret.
Well, we're watching just in the background there, we're top left-hand corner, we're watching the laying on and the build-up of colour again.
All right.
But as Nancy said, these pictures have been kept deliberately simple, because I've seen some of Nancy's, shall we say, more major works, and I'm still surprised at what one can do with a palette knife. Some very intricate detail, isn't there?
Yes. You see my reflections now. I'm putting some green here, Alan, because we're reflecting the trees down in here like that, okay?
Well, now, yes, I was just going to ask you that, because I noticed you as a lovely example there of our light, medium, and dark tone, but we've got trees here that we haven't got there.
Right.
Hence, the reflection
Of green. You see?
Yeah.
I'm going to put a few little things here like that.
And this is your across and down, across
Right.
and down.
Now
Yeah.
we're going into the home stretch like this. Of course, the boats always last. This is very dark here, this little piece here, like that, you see. Now, these little inlets can be a real problem, but don't worry about it. Just put them on like this, you see. This is a beautiful painting, by the way, and has a marvelous feeling. I'm going to put these little stand of bushes here like that.
Oh, those are just a straight down stroke.
Yes, you see, there
yeah.
again, Alan, we have to worry about, not worry about it, but we should concentrate on our subject matter as far as pattern goes, you see, because everything has its own individual stroke. Incidentally, this has a bit of a slope, so we're going to go like this, you see.
You suggest the slope.
Yes.
I love this way you do trees with just a little streak of the same colour virtually,
Right.
isn't it? Yeah.
This is very blue-green in front. It should be very, very cool. I'm adding some sky color in here. You see?
At the risk of sounding repetitious, we'd like to once again tell everybody watching that you take as long as you like over a painting. I mean, Nancy is doing this in our 25 minutes or so, purely for the sake of the program.
I've got a little red in
So
here.
you don't you forget, you take all the time you like.
I'm going to give a little feeling of vegetation here and little bits of different colored
Yeah,
grasses and what
yeah.
have you. There again, we have a bit of a stroke. It's a little bit of a slope also, like that, you see?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that gorgeous? I think painting with a knife is the most satisfying and wonderful way to paint. And
Well,
any
it's
beginner
certainly
has a
very
professional-looking
free.
painting.
It's certainly very free. And it means, Nancy, if we follow the rules, gradually as we come to acquire the knowledge and the facility and the dexterity with our wrist and the palette knife, then, I mean, we can paint what we like, but isn't it? We can branch out and develop our own styles and techniques.
Yes, you can. And you'll find yourself doing it. Once you learn the mechanics,
Yeah.
you see, that's the whole secret of the system. Learn the
But
mechanics
in the
first.
beginning,
Learn your
keep
color.
it simple.
Keep it simple. Good. As I said at one point, no, you know, burning deserts with camels and dancing girls and what have
And
you,
keep
you know.
pets out of it as well, isn't
And
it?
keep
There's-
pets out of it. Good heavens.
Yeah, definitely.
Animals can be a terrible thing.
Yeah,
You see, those things that you don't know about will label your picture very unprofessional looking. And they will
Yes, of
ruin a
course,
whole
that will,
painting.
you will look
will.
at it.
Because you'll see
absolutely
it.
so, yes.
I'm going to put a lovely light tone here, Alan, like this. You see, there's a gorgeous light tone right in here like that. There's a little light hitting it, you see, and on top of this. And I want to put a little purple down here underneath these bushes because you see they're casting good deep shadow here. And I'm going to put some purple, my lovely purple. down here
Everything
like
is
that.
shape and reflection.
Yes. You
As
see,
I've said
whoops.
before, I am only just really beginning to see. I'm looking at everything. I look at everything now in an entirely different eye. You know?
Well, the beautiful part about the pictures we have chosen is that they're all chosen for similarity, and yet they are different.
Yes. Oh,
You
yes.
see.
Well, as you said before, we've gone through all the 4 seasons, and we've done all sorts of paintings, haven't we?
There, I'll put a little thing there, like that. Now we're going to put that little darling little boat, which is my Waterloo at times.
You really don't like it.
Well, it's I don't think they like me, Alan. I'm going to put this, the
Mind
inside
you, I
is purple.
suppose every artist gets a block
Every
about
artist
something.
has something that they have a block
Now,
about.
Nancy, I'd like to watch you do
Did
it.
you
Will
see
you
that?
explain what you're doing
I'm
there?
doing the inside of the boat first, and it's quite dark. Like
So all
that.
you've done
It's
is
purple.
following the curve that you already
Following
have
the curve
in
of
there.
the boat. Now I'm going to put a little tone down here like this. Hopefully it looks like a boat. And then we put a little thing like this. Like that. You see that's on the other side of the boat. And I'm going to put a little purple here this way. I'm sorry, this takes a little time, of course. I mean, you know, I think I can build a tree fast.
Yeah, but it just, you know, it just shows that you can be a little finicky and a little precise and a little detailed with the knife.
Now I'm going
And
just to put a
still
highlight.
use it.
I'm going to put a little highlight right on the edge here where the light is hitting it, you see, like that. And one over here like this where it's catching the corner of the boat. Like that, you see?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm going to put a little thing like that.
Little mast.
Almost. And then, of course, we have something holding the boat down here like this. I just want to outline this a little bit in purple here underneath here like that. Like that.
And there we are.
There we are. Mm-hmm.
Nancy, look, I think now what we would like to do is to show everybody the palette because what I perhaps, well, finish the painting first.
Yes.
But we would like to keep an eye open on this palette business because let's just explain before we leave the painting, let's just explain once again how the colors are related to one another. Now, you've got in the water, Nancy, we're picking up the sky tones. So that gives us harmony between sky and the reflections in the water.
Right.
The greens are reflected again. The light green that you have there is reflected again down here. The yellow of where the sunlight is hitting is reflected on the mountains on the right-hand side.
Right.
And you've given a center of interest. And I notice, Nancy, again, that your center of interest, the boat, for instance, which without that boat, I'm sure the painting wouldn't look anything, would it?
Oh, I don't know. If your boat begins to look like a bathtub, just worry. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
but
it.
you need that little
No, you
focal
need something.
point there.
No, you really
you
do
see.
need a focal
And,
point of interest. And something
It's not quite center, so be careful. Don't place anything actually in the center there. And see that stroke of reflection across
Yes, you see,
and
and
down,
I do this
across
with a
and
clean
down.
knife, by the way, you see? Like that, you see?
And that
Bring
gives
this down
that
like that.
effect of water there.
There we are, like that.
So basically remember that the reflection of one color into another harmonizes, unifies the whole picture. And where the sunlight comes, you don't need to have masses of sunlight. For instance, Nancy's only got sunlight just picking out here. But it brings the whole thing then to life. Now this, Nancy, with this, what we just would like to explain, if perhaps you would just go to the palette and explain the fact that we do mix our colors on the palette. So by the time you come to actually start the painting on your hardboard or canvas, by the time you come to actually do the painting, the colors, Nancy, are already mixed, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're already mixed, and it's best to mix your color first and make your mistakes on the palette instead of on your canvas.
So what?
So we mix the 3 tones of every area that we're going to paint in the picture first.
So what we'll have done, we will have decided now on the areas and the colors we're going to use.
Right, and do that first.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this system. And you mix your 3 values. And then you can add your different tones and interchange your colors as you paint, you see?
Now, we've got our outside of the palette, Nancy. You've got all the colors we've been telling everybody about.
Yes, the palette's laid out the same, always,
that is a total. So
right.
all we do, if we want a green, we mix a little of the blues and the yellows.
Right.
And we mix them together. And if we mix them together, we decide, say, that's the sort of green I want in my picture.
Exactly.
Now, once you've decided that, it is then that you lighten it for the lighter tone, darken it for the dark
tone.
Because we always mix our medium tone first, isn't it?
Yes, we do. We mix a mother color first, and then we make a light of it and a dark of it.
So the mother color, yes, being the medium tone, and then a light of it and the dark of it.
Right.
And this is the reason, of course, that Nancy, as you can see now, Nancy, I see you've also on that palette. Now, again, you've used a very limited range of color. There's only basically
well, we have the 3 sky
there.
tones, you see, and we've used the greens
light,
again.
Medium, and dark.
Light,
and
medium,
sky.
and dark. And we've used the, in a different degrees. And remember, I've mixed the sky tone with the greens all the way through the painting, you see?
So we've got this, again, this unification. I hate to keep harping on about it, but it does pull the whole picture together,
well,
doesn't
and
it?
using the sky tones with the greens has cooled the painting down. You see? The painting is much cooler.
Really, the fact that we've, now when we, with our geraniums last time, those were all the ochres and the reds, those were the warm, that's what
warm
gave the whole
tones,
picture,
right.
Didn't it? Sort of real get up and go attitude. But now this being the blues and the greens are the cool end. Is that right?
Yes, it's the cool end right here like this.
So this gives us a cool, tranquil picture, yeah?
This is very tranquil, isn't it? Don't you feel like going right through there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I like to fix these inlets because they got to be a little bit, there we are. This is wonderful fun, though, really. Once you've gotten over the boat and gotten over the shock of the boat, then you can sort of... Because I do find that mechanical things are very difficult in a painting, and they shouldn't be attempted. And people will invariably paint things that are really difficult.
We've only had a few lessons, haven't we? So, I mean, it's what you can't jump before you...
And people are afraid to leave things out of paintings. It's amazing. I had this woman who painted this, you know, all these things in this painting, mechanical things that you saw in the yard where she was painting in her garden. And they really ruined the painting because they looked terrible. They were out of perspective, and she didn't know what to do with
with
it.
all your experience as a teacher, would say the general tendency for people is to sort of paint beyond their ability.
Yes, and to keep away from little things that really date the painting and give it an unprofessional look. If you're not sure of it, don't really...
Keep it simple.
Yes, keep it simple.
Well, I mean, it's the fact is proven, I suppose, many times. I mean, if you learn to play the piano, you wouldn't expect to play a Beethoven sonata the following week, would you?
That's right. I'm going to put a little dark tone in here. You see, I'm having fun with the purple light. We forgot to put the purple tone in here now.
Well, again, we hope we've been explicit. We've explained a few more things as we go along about this unification of colour. Try to bear all these points in mind. Sort of sit down now and just quietly think about them yourself. We'll show you now the whole build-up of the picture from the word go. And one more time from our ebb tide, low tide from Nancy and from myself. Bye-bye.